Well,
got
okay.
see. Thanks, Katie.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get
As soon as he
started.
published, or she
Because
published.
I know we
Whoever it was that he
have,
published.
everyone's got things to do and things to work
Sorry.
on, so we're gonna get started
Can't
already.
either.
First thing we're going to do is show the, Mr. Van Matry has asked us to show the bond video, the newest one. So let me pull that up, and here we go. But I don't hear sound. Here we go.
Has been a cornerstone of Northwest Corpus Christi.
There we go.
For more than 75 years, Toloso Midway ISD has been a cornerstone of Northwest Corpus Christi. Today, more than 500 teachers and staff serve nearly 3,650 students each day, guided by a shared mission to focus on the whole child through high expectations, equitable opportunity, a safe environment, and a high-quality, enriching curriculum. In March 2023, Toloso Midway ISD brought together parents, teachers, community members, senior citizens, and business leaders to build a strategic plan to guide the district through 2028. From that process, one goal emerged: ensuring that every district facility is modern, safe, and equipped with relevant infrastructure. To begin working toward that goal, the Toloso Midway community approved a $165 million bond package in November 2023, funding a new junior high school, a career and technical education center, safety and security upgrades, natatorium upgrades, new buses, band instruments, and athletic facility upgrades. The district has been delivering on those promises. Renovations to the baseball field, softball field, and tennis courts are complete. The CTE Center and natatorium broke ground in March 2025. Safety and security upgrades continue across the district, new buses and band instruments have been purchased, and the new junior high school is set to break ground on April 16, 2026. The 2026 bond is the second phase of the plan. Toloso Midway ISD's Board of Trustees unanimously approved calling a bond election for May 2, 2026. If approved, Prop A will provide $136 million to address aging facilities and equipment in TMISD, a new band hall and field house at the high school, a new multipurpose pavilion, technology updates, new buses, and a middle school extended learning playscape. Prop B will provide $4 million for student and teacher devices. This bond will impact every student and teacher in Toloso Midway ISD. Nearly 40% of Proposition A is allocated to address aging facilities and equipment across the district. Prop A includes complete roof replacements at all 4 campuses. The roofs across TMISD are approximately 20 years old and are nearing or have exceeded their useful lifespan. Prop A also includes replacing HVAC and control systems at the middle school and intermediate school. Approximately 65 HVAC units have reached the end of life at intermediate and middle school. The remaining units at middle school are about halfway through their life cycle. Due to saltwater and refinery exposure, unit coils deteriorate around 12 years despite proactive measures like factory-coated coils and scheduled washings. Prop A funds modernization updates to Toloso Midway High School, including new flooring, lighting, and electrical systems, paint, and the removal of asbestos. Toloso Midway High School was built in 1984, more than 40 years ago. It has been 12 years since the campus has seen renovations. Some of the district's furniture is reaching the end of its useful life, and the middle school lacks seating to accommodate all students. Prop A would enable the district to replace classroom and office furniture throughout the district. Prop A also includes upgrades to the high school ag facility. The current ag barn was built nearly 15 years ago and lacks modern equipment and space for students to utilize for today's agricultural education. This bond would allow the district to add new watering systems tailored to specific species, as well as cattle pens on the exterior of the building. Additionally, the district could add more pens for rabbit and poultry projects, allowing more students to participate. Across all campuses, special education classrooms have not had their sensory rooms updated and currently lack the modern equipment needed to provide effective sensory support. Prop A includes updates to SPED sensory rooms at all campuses. Prop A would fund the construction of a new 30,000 square foot band hall at Toloso Midway High School. Today, there are 182 students in the band program, putting it near capacity for the current space. The high school band and choir programs currently share the same spaces. A new band hall would allow both programs to have their own dedicated rehearsal spaces. Increased participation in band has led to a lack of instrument and uniform storage. It has been 12 years since the band hall was renovated. The current field house was built in 1986, more than 40 years ago. With the growing participation in athletics, the field house lacks the locker space to allow each student athlete to have their own locker. Prop A includes a new 28,000 square foot field house that will house locker rooms, a weight room, coaches' offices, restrooms, classrooms, and training room. The new facility will serve boys and girls in athletics and physical education. Prop A would replace aging, end-of-life, equipment and software district-wide, including wireless access points, servers, new network cabling, uninterrupted power supply, phone system, and equipment to improve network efficiency. Classroom and instructional technology will include interactive flat panels, document cameras, and software to upgrade service, security, efficiency, and response time for staff and students. Every classroom across the district will be upgraded as a result of this project. Temperatures can often reach or exceed 100 degrees in the area when school starts in July. These temperatures limit the amount of time students can spend outdoors for physical education, outdoor learning, and activities such as marching band practice. Proposition A includes a new 79,000 square foot multi-purpose pavilion that is open air and covered to lower the direct ground temperatures and protect students from harmful UV rays during physical education classes and extracurricular activities, such as marching band practices. Prop A includes an outdoor extended learning playscape with a climbing obstacle course, running track, basketball court, pavement game area, play wall, turf, seating, tables, and shading to cover all areas. Once the new Toloso Midway Junior High is built, funded by the 2023 bond, the current middle school will be home to 5th and 6th grade students. This addition will provide a learning space for teachers to utilize, as well as a place for 5th and 6th grade students to play during recess. TMISD utilizes 38 buses and more than 17 routes daily to transport students. The average age of those buses is 13 years. The useful life of a school bus is 7 to 10 years, and half of the current TMISD fleet is approaching or past its useful life. The bond would allow the district to comply with state laws requiring all buses to have seat belts by 2029. Without bond funds, the district would have to allocate money from its annual budget to retroactively install safety belts on its older buses, removing money from classroom instruction. Prop A includes funds to purchase new buses. Prop B would purchase new technology devices for students and teachers for classroom and home use. Currently, Toloso Midway ISD does not have one-to-one devices for its students. Nearly 56% of TMISD devices are more than 6 years old, which is at or beyond their typical lifespan. Device purchases will be made in phases, rather than all at once. This approach allows the district to create a sustainable replacement cycle, avoid large future budget spikes, and ensure technology remains current and reliable for students and staff. Texas school districts do not receive state funding for renovating or building new schools. Instead, they must receive funds through school bond elections. So, what is the financial impact of the 2026 bond? If both propositions are approved, the estimated impact for an average home valued at $256,576 in Toloso Midway ISD would be $10.93 per month. The estimated impact of Bond 2026 includes the $140,000 homestead exemption approved by voters in November. Homeowners age 65 and older will now receive a $200,000 homestead exemption if they have filed for and received the over 65 exemption through their local tax assessor's office. Homeowners in TMISD are also eligible for the 20% optional homestead exemption previously approved by the school board. Residents can apply for the optional exemption through the Nueces County Appraisal District website at nuecescad.net. School property taxes are frozen for senior citizens and disabled persons and will remain unaffected by the passage of the bond election, provided they have applied for and received the over 65 homestead exemption with the appropriate appraisal district and have made no major improvements or additions to their residence. Toloso Midway ISD's community growth has expanded the overall tax base, while commercial and residential real estate values have increased. Local industry will offset 84% of each bond 2026 tax dollar. As local revenue increases, the state decreases the funding it provides to the school district. When the state determines there is more local revenue than needed, it will ask the district to pay recapture, which sends local tax dollars back to the state to be redistributed to other districts. While the district's M and O funds are subject to recapture, I and S funds generated by bond elections are not subject to recapture. This means 100% of the bond funds stay in Toloso Midway ISD. Delaying implementation of the bond program exposes the district to inflation and rising construction costs, potentially increasing expenses by up to $14 million annually. Early voting is April 20th through the 28th. Election Day is Saturday, May 2nd. Registered voters can vote at the Toloso Midway ISD Administration Building. More information on Bond 2026 is available on the district's website at tmisd.us/bond. And remember, go vote.
Okay, well, thank you all for listening. Does anyone have any questions? Because I know we've got Mr. Alvarado here who could probably discuss if you had questions in regards to one of those propositions. Any questions?
Comments?
Anything?
I think that lays it
Exciting.
out very well.
I do
I think so
too.
too.
And if people would just watch that, they would understand instead of have such a negative.
Right,
Especially the taxes, like how that affects,
Right.
people over 65. Sometimes they, if you don't know, you might think that you're gonna have to pay those taxes. But I thought it was,
And you showed the kids,
Very-
and you showed the equipment, and you showed,
Yes.
this is why, because most of the people that vote might not have kids in the district or kids still in the district, and they don't know what our
They're
schools
not.
look like on the inside.
Right.
We do, but
okay.
and I know in the lower grades, I don't know how many times, they don't get to go outside. And those little ones need to go outside because of the heat index. It's
But that's
too
gonna be
hot.
hard because the pavilion's gonna be at the high school.
Oh, yeah.
But
We
it's
need
not
one.
gonna
We
be at
need
the-
one. That's on the next bond.
This is just a quick, will the names of the schools shift? Like,
So I believe this will stay middle school, and then it'll be junior high.
okay, so we'll have a middle school and a junior
And a
high.
junior high.
Okay. So I don't know if we would turn into a different,
No, it used to be intermediate.
okay.
Okay, so what grades would be the intermediate? Would that be 3, 4, and 5? 3 and 4, 3 and 4.
2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4.
Intermediate?
2, 3,
3, 4.
We're gonna move the second over.
Oh, so it'll be 2, 3, 4 over there.
To make
Five,
it
then 5, 6.
Unless we do like
7,
change
8.
all of them,
7, 8.
primary, elementary.
I think it should be, yeah, that's what,
Intermediate. Yes.
I feel like it.
That makes
Middle
more-
does not sound like 5, 6 to me. Middle and
We
junior.
talked about it, Mr. Amici was afraid that the community is already tied to those names and it would be
Right.
difficult to adjust.
Unless you just give it a name.
And it's cheaper. Just to leave something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I thought about that the other day. The library books all say Tolosa Midway
Yeah.
Intermediate. Can you imagine a parent that has one at both? And then they have an old book and it says still the intermediate because they didn't change it. And then it gets sent to the middle, yeah.
I think as a parent, I think it would be important to play up the playscape piece at the middle school, because I don't think that people realize,
Sixth
one,
graders
that
are
that's where
still
it's gonna
kids.
be, and two, I think that will help sell it, because fifth and sixth graders do need recess.
They do.
You know what I mean, and that's something that sixth graders have been lacking since they, have come over.
They have, yep, they're not used to that.
They're still kids, but they're acting like adults.
No, you can't go outside, we don't go outside here, there's no recess here.
Yes, there's not a transition. I think them
There's not.
changing it will
Rough.
help
I
transition.
think.
Yeah, it's rough.
Do we know if in that bond, they would replace because one of our basketball hoops was supposed to be the covered area? Do we know if there's money in there to?
Or the tent, right, for the
Right,
cover?
like the shades.
Yeah, because there's
Over
no
that-
shade for the kids out there.
There's no shade.
We have no shade anymore there.
Yeah.
We don't.
When it got real windy, I guess
They finally gave out, so there's no shade.
Or ripped.
Yeah, we don't have any shade at the primary either.
It's gone now too?
There's nothing there.
yeah.
It's a rickety playground and that's about it.
But there is money for renovations, just to kind of more elementary-fy the middle school campus, just to kind of make it more conducive to having the fifth and the sixth graders there, because I know when we did a walkthrough with the intermediate teachers, some of the things that they expressed were wanting to make sure they had kind of storage for their backpacks, to kind of still make it more of an elementary space, adding more color, things like that. So it's not.
It's scary going into that building for the first time as sixth graders.
And I think you have to think of it this
And
way.
it's so big.
We are spending a ton of money trying to fix things year after year. So, but you use bond money, the money that you were using to fix things could fund something else like a covered patio.
But like the high school does need those renovations, because just going over there for UIL practices, I go upstairs and every week I go in there, there's more and more leaks. from,
We have a
because
classroom with
it's
11 trash cans in it right now.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful CTE center, it's going to be, and then
Yeah.
you walk past that, you're like,
campus.
Right now, the
where
CTE
have I been,
classes are in the
where have I
summer,
gone?
yeah.
I mean, what happened to
Yeah.
the new
Yeah.
What's going on, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
well, good, we'll share that feedback back with Mr. Van Matry.
But I think that may be your next question on the shade on the other campuses
I
due
do,
to
yeah.
say, because you're calling out raising the heat index at the high school, they're gonna ask you on the other campuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scale back the playscape.
Today I've been putting my foot in my mouth all day on it.
But I think there's, and I'll have to try to find it, there are some, you can try to maybe apply for some grants, and it's not the American
Yes.
Cancer Society, but it's someone that's
There's a
linked to
playground
skin
grant
cancer
out there,
that
and
you
I
can
can't
try to
remember
write a
through
grant.
one of the
for.
Our
school
part here
groups.
is that you have to get everything windstorm.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard to
And
get
it's
down.
like just
Insurance,
doubles
yeah.
the price for it.
Well, and I guess that's my question on that, because I know that kind of delayed some of the work that was being done on the natatorium, because you can't work on the roof during hurricane season, or you can.
I don't,
I don't know.
I don't,
It delayed, that's what we were
I thought
told.
there was
It delayed
other
part of the
issues that
natatorium
came
because
about
once they took
that they didn't
the
know.
roof
besides finding the
off,
newspaper in the walls?
they couldn't.
Yeah, there's just other issues that came about that was not noticeable to the eye or whenever they were,
Well,
I think
once they
that
took
they
the
had
roof
planned
off,
for.
Yeah,
in
didn't-
order to put it back, we were told that they had to wait until after hurricane season, so I don't know if that
Yeah.
will
I have no
play
idea.
into that or not.
I just knew that when every seal that they had was rotted and,
yeah, it was
and,
like, okay, this
it
is
was-
bigger than what we,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so we did have an agenda and we've got some things to go over, but because of time, is it okay if I skip through and go through, or do you wanna go over your
Do
stuff?
you wanna go through?
I wanna go through mine.
Go through, we
Yes.
have to go through hers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, like,
listen,
We have to, we just have to, because we are a Title I school district. This is a requirement to go through the comprehensive needs assessment. And, it's something that I guess we did it in the past, but kind of informally and kind of quick. So now, with us being Title I, we've gotta go through this process. So the first thing is, I put just at the tables, just one handout. You all can share. It's no big deal, but we're gonna go over it. Basically, the purpose of a comprehensive needs assessment. It looks like this one right here. So what we're doing is we're looking at the whole child, we're looking at everything, not necessarily just academics, but we're gonna look at absenteeism, we're gonna look at our counseling department, we're gonna look at what support services we provide to our students. So we're looking at the whole picture. Then we go through and it says gap identification, we're gonna look at discrepancies. Where are the kids struggling and what can we do to better address that? But first, we're looking at our needs first. And then, of course, it is a compliance piece, Title I and TA accountability. And then we're gonna understand the why. Why are things happening? So the way that we have you set up is, I see there's at least a representative from each of the campuses, and we'll probably combine here in just a little bit because of our small numbers. And then committee norms. We've gotta go over committee norms. Everyone has a voice at your table. It's data driven, so we'll provide you with the pieces of data that we're going to look at, and solutions oriented. We want everybody to come up with a solution, and we want to hear your perspective, okay? Of course, professional respect, I have to put that on there, okay? And then also honest dialogue. Let's be honest when we identify what our needs are. The next thing is a confidentiality statement. It's number 3. Please realize that there are some times that we are going to go over some confidential information that involves the district. So please keep in mind, everything is confidential. You're gonna see some reports, you're gonna see discipline reports, you're gonna see those kinds of things, absenteeism. We just wanna make sure that we have a positive mindset, and we're going to look at it in terms of how can we fix this. These are our needs. Okay, we've identified them, but what are we going to do? And if you can read the confidentiality statement, and it lays out exactly what your responsibilities are. Of course, the goals for the process, we wanna look at our data, we wanna review data, but most importantly, we wanna come up with a root cause. Why are kids missing? What's the problem? Why are kids struggling in 6th grade, start reading or whatnot? Okay, that's the whole purpose of this. We wanna come up with 3 to 5 priority needs. There's a lot of needs, you'll see, but we wanna narrow it down, because if, when we're planning and you've got like 7 or 8 things you've gotta fix, and it's hard to focus in on that. Let's focus on little things, 1 or 2. This one says 3 to 5. If we can do at least 3 that we can focus on for next school year, then great. Because when it becomes overwhelming when we have too many. And then of course, we wanna hear your feedback And then you all are representing your campuses. You can go back and get your feedback from teachers, from your colleagues, and then come back, parents as well, and come back and we can discuss it. Okay, so our roadmap is we're gonna gather the data. Today we're looking at the taper report, and then we wanna identify focus areas, determine the root cause. That's the most important thing, okay? And it's this page right here that I'm looking at. It kind of just lays out our process. I have to go over the process with you as a district. These are our expectations. This is what we're going to do. And then, go down here. Here's our roadmap. This is the assignment. So in your groups, today, there's a lot of focus areas. There's 8 actually that we have to look at. So it looks like this one. It's this handout right here. It says focus area 1. Today we're looking at student achievement and assessment. Okay? So I think what I'm going to do is you have your taper report. Today we're focusing just on STAR. Okay? STAR reading and math. Let's start with that. Little bits, okay? Let's start with STAR reading and math. Look at those special pops. Look at how the kids did. What are some trends? What do you notice? I put some things to consider. If you see that, some questions to kind of take into consideration. And then what I want you to do is I wanted you to type it in there, but because of time and logging on and all of that, as long as I get one person from your table to scribe and to write it and answer those things, identify the weaknesses, identify the strengths. Question 3, there's like 6 questions that you're gonna look at. Have one person write it for your table. That's it. So what I think I'm going to do is if we could combine, you wanna combine? Okay, so if you all wanna get together here, and then you wanna join them right here?
I'll join.
Okay, and then these 2 together? These 2 groups, yeah. Those 2 groups.
They got the snacks. Oh, you want to come over here?
Y'all got
I don't wanna.
good table over there. Chips, water. Just STAR.
You doing that, Ms. Waddle?
I can.
No.
If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Or the coffee does, one of the two. There you go.
It's not like effective in ours, but they're removing it from.
Overall,
Chocolate.
I'll eat every bit of it. You're just gonna,
That's what I was asking. It just
I'll
came
eat
out.
and not
That's why I
talk.
go sit down in Carol's office.
Yeah, it's just a way to hold it.
Chocolate.
Do not sit down in Carol's office, stand in Carol's office, and then the chocolate doesn't enter the bloodstream.
So collation, every grade level is different.
So I guess we're.
Actually, fifth period has been really, I'm sorry, if first, second, third, and fourth has been really stressful. There were a piece of chocolate coming to
So there are
the
approaches, but
candy
you
box,
see,
I'm just saying.
last year they scored at 76, so you could say 4th grade reading was a strength because they went up. You could say that.
If all grades level went up, you can
For
say we're
all
moving
grade
in the right
levels,
direction.
Exactly.
A weakness I would
$20,000.
say is that, yes,
45.
we're at 83% approaches, but really we want to focus on the
One
needs
cabinet?
of masters.
Yep.
Texas has a
Close. I
goal.
hope- You're like, forget it.
That was the furniture meeting?
We don't need
Okay.
that cabinet.
Just kind of just something to look at that was brought up at this table. Okay, they asked,
I
okay,
always
what are
look
we
at that.
focusing
Are
in
we
on? Maybe it's the meets and
90,
masters.
60, 30?
Because the approaches,
And
if
we're
you look
not
at approaches,
90,
we don't want our
60,
kids just at
30,
approaches.
We still have.
Maybe it meets and
work to do.
masters. You could
So
say
that's how I
all
always
grade
look at my
levels went
data.
up from
Okay.
24 to
Are we at
25.
90?
I don't
Are we
know.
at the 60?
Look at that. Look at
So
those
when you
trends.
see
Look at those
some of your
subpopulations.
meets,
Look at
percentages, they're about
Hispanic. Look at African American. Look to see how our students are performing. Look at strengths overall.
Like a visual graph.
Yeah. ChatGPT asked it to.
I know. No, they had to make it difficult for us and like everything else.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can you just put this in ChatGPT and ask it to
We're looking
restart?
at like grade 4.
But 52, they're hitting needs.
But this is what the state gives us.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying, I love ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know.
like, this is our.
Well, I guess this would be good, because this is public information. It is.
Region 2.
So we're okay.
Our district,
What's going on?
Our district is
I mean, if you look at like our 24 to 25, it increased from 36 to 58. We're doubled there.
Well, this is all intermediate.
So how is it better because we've got their
So as a district, now the state is,
Especially when it comes to like domain.
we're better than the state,
So master
worse,
Growth, that's
worse,
okay, growth.
way worse.
increase.
I can tell you why that increases, I only have curriculum.
That blue on it
Maybe
hit.
the one that decreased.
We all did. We all took a beating on that one, I can tell you that, right?
so what happens with reading? Because, okay, I'm pretty much homeschooled, and I homeschooled my girls up through
Decreased.
8th grade, okay? And so, I mean, it was like,
We're looking at these masters that stayed the same, and it's.
the phonics, the form, go. And it worked, I'm like,
Yeah,
Say this without
Right on it.
offending people.
Feel free to write on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Highlight it, yeah, that's okay.
But
This was a
for some
decrease.
reason,
This is the approach.
they're coming to
This is
us
grade
and
two.
they're,
So it should be going down.
they don't, they're
Yes,
not
the
reading.
approaches should be going down
They don't
because
have
the kids
grasp.
don't.
And so you hit that and then you use this high-level curriculum,
So you don't,
there is a
we want to, we
huge
want the
gap. And
kids
so
overall
we're
to
closing it, we can all
We've got
shortly.
kids in 9th grade EOC
borderline
that
going
That's where you wanna see the 90%.
cannot read.
Right.
And
that's a huge problem, and they're just being passed on and on and on and on.
yeah, well,
But we also, as a district, don't have a very good MTSS program.
Right.
In fact, I don't think there's, I know there's not one just for secondary. So,
And I think we've also got issues with our sped department, like getting them qualified or getting
This
them,
also shows
even,
that-
we feel like at the intermediate, they're overqualified. There's way too many sped kids at the intermediate just because they're slow learners or lower doesn't mean they're sped. And I think that the intermediate, for some reason, it hits and we just have a ton of kids that are over-identified.
we have a ton of kids who are still identifying. So they've made it from kindergarten through 8th grade. And so every single start test.
And so next, this year, it's because they've now been
And
able
they
to
test
set
them in 9th grade, and then they qualify.
to this year.
unless you're.
She's right though, because I remember being there, it was like every kid was like,
Every
we're
kid.
identifying
So many kid, and I mean, every time
And
you
then it
turn
becomes
around,
a
there's
staffing
sped in
issue
there.
because there's too many.
Right, and then you can't service all of them. And then they fall through the
Well, I heard
cracks, and
Miss
then,
Land, I'm talking to her, she had 45 kids on her caseload?
That's too many.
oh,
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
That's too,
I know,
that
yeah.
she's teaching and then the paperwork when she has
And
to.
I'm telling you, I don't know, I'm telling you, the group we just sent to 5th grade, unbelievable number of kids. I don't know how, but third, fourth, and fifth, they're high numbers. And we have so many that you can't even, and then they're still qualifying, and it's just like, it is just an overwhelming
But
number.
if you don't take the proper steps in kindergarten, first and second, and MTSS, by the time they get to third, they're too far behind.
And that's what, and I'm not, that's right, it's, and then intermediate doesn't teach phonics, like phonics is a primary
And see,
thing.
science, we're not.
And so if they don't have the basis of phonics, right, so now we're teaching for knowledge, and so if you get out of primary
Because
and
by
you
the
don't
time,
have that,
by the time
you're
that
just
child gets into
backpedaling.
3rd grade, much less 4th, you had better have those basics down. And
they're
that's
not.
not just the reading, it's the math too.
no, exactly,
yeah, for sure.
exactly, it's the foundation of all of it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's
So
just
the
not
conversation
coming.
was, I don't get this because I homeschooled my girls up through 8th
So is it
grade.
fair to say that
And
at
To
intermediate,
me, reading is, I mean,
the majority of the scores?
It's the
you did
foundation.
everything.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, are the kids not, are the kids in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and really in kindergarten, are they not identifying the phonics? Are they not, I mean, is it the curriculum that is being used that is not identifying the phonics? Because usually, phonics is fundamental in a reading curriculum. I mean, that's
My
it.
wife teaches kindergarten, and she's been here probably about 19 years. And she's had 5 reading curriculums.
Yeah, just,
You know what I mean? That's tough. Yeah, learn, relearn, learn, relearn. And I went, it's like you said, like the first phonics group. Dang.
Oh, I mean,
So, like, if
hit
you're-
a square in the face, like it was rough.
So they weren't ready for it.
They were
so if I
So-
say this, I don't want you guys to be, I do not want you guys to think that I am
You're gonna see a struggle.
purporting a particular curriculum.
There was an increase.
But for example,
77 to 70.
we used a Becca, okay? I don't know when the last time was that a Becca curriculum changed, but it didn't matter whether your kid was ADHD, whether they were dyslexic, whatever. You started with that, then if there was a problem,
So you have to go.
you identified, like.
I hate that it's like the cohort,
I tested
yeah.
for
Does that make sense? Yeah, okay.
72 to.
when we homeschooled.
Yes.
To the
that were both
2025,
dyslexic,
so they
okay?
went from.
And they went through like the, what is it?
Yes.
They went up.
Okay,
Scottish
so
Rite reading
also,
program.
just looking
And it
at
was
the
great. I
data,
mean, because by the time I
remember
was testing
that
them-
third grade group in 24, now they're what?
25.
Fourth graders in 25. So you can look at those trends too, keep that in mind.
So are we having an issue with identifying a reading issue? I mean, a reading problem?
It's 2 problems. The state keeps changing TEKS, and then there's a loss of curriculum to match those TEKS. And so it's always like you're chasing the tail of a dog.
And I don't think that kinder's not mandatory. I think that's also,
We, I know the intermediates talked about if more identification was going on in the primary, because I think what says it's like developmental, they're not ready. But I mean, I think sometimes if there's some things that were identified, by the time they got to their 4th and 5th for sure, you could start exiting them. But we're not identifying this till 3rd grade. And so then you've got them all the way. I don't know what happens to kids that aren't getting identified for high school, but I mean, there is a ton of kids that we identify in 3rd grade, and so they're in their 3rd, 4th, 5th, so it's like there's no exit process.
Well, you can identify them in 9th grade, but by that time, you've got a stigma. Okay,
Well, I mean,
that is just.
It's schooling that many years of schooling has happened that they've missed.
But what I'm saying is.
Can you open it up?
Open it up. Throughout history, we've had people who were adults that had to learn to read. When you're in 9th grade, there's a huge stigma behind that. And so, you know.
Even so, they take a snapshot of our kids in October.
There's not a single teacher I have on campus who is familiar on how to teach a kid
Like
to
were they
read.
here
Right.
and
They
here
are all reading.
sometimes, so, I mean.
Well, yeah. but you-
For their content, right, and yeah, for
they're
sure,
reading
we need to learn,
No, no, I'm not.
right, exactly,
they're not.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that, I'm saying,
Yeah.
but that,
And what happens to a lot of times.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
there should, okay, we're talking about how to improve this.
And so they just.
Get the darn program together and have it there, identify that non-reader, and get them in with someone who can work with
I
them.
also think the other thing that we find every day in high school is attendance.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, the kids who can't read, surprisingly, are absent 40 times a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, how do we
how do you, yeah,
forcefully make people come to school?
And don't get me wrong,
without
Mr.
doing cops,
Alvarado.
because they-
Don't get me wrong, Mr. Alvarado, I totally get what you're saying. What we need to do is it needs to be happening in kinder, first and second, okay? For sure. But you also have to have some kind of a safety net, or you're gonna end up with Sherry Nelson, a highly accomplished physics teacher who got stuck with, because somebody gets stuck with IPC every year, okay?
I don't know, what's IPC?
Introduction to physics and chemistry.
But it's for all the kids who fail 8th grade STAR.
Oh, got it,
So
okay.
it's meant to bolster them up before they take the biology test.
Or when they move into biology, if you know
that's
within
another
that
piece of
first
data.
6 weeks that they are just taking it. Then they get moved to IPC to get them the introduction, so that in 10th grade, they're taking the biology, because they're gonna have to pass that test. And they can't pass the test if they can't read. Okay, or if they have if they have no concept about the
But I
science.
saw, did I not see somewhere that we're doing some reading initiative, which I don't know what that is. We're starting next year a reading
We were
initiative.
supposed to hire.
Of those, 58% were at meet
Specific tasks was to
or
target
so this
reading
84 includes
throughout
this
the district.
58 plus this 24.
It's a.
Issue, yeah.
Continuously enrolled.
By the way, can we write on this?
I'm sure you can.
Oh, sure.
The only thing I was gonna do was, I was just gonna put a little star.
But if we go down that road,
It's everybody.
what does that look like financially?
I don't think we go with
So
Do we
continuously
hire a
enrolled,
reading
that's
interventionist for every
did they
single
snapshot
grade?
with us in maybe October, but didn't test with
hire a
us?
reading
Or they tested
interventionist
with us, but they didn't snapshot with us?
for
Do y'all have interventionists in high school?
They didn't snapshot with
See,
us.
we have
That's
one
how
for
they
every
know they
level.
moved around.
Well, we split them with math and reading. We have one person that will split math and reading.
And you're intermediate, right?
Yes, ma'am, fourth grade.
Those kids who move
The way
around, they're not.
we-
They're not, and that's the trend, that's what we've seen that year after year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's your intervention to graduate.
They're not in a continuous.
Can you come back from ACC, or once you're in ACC, you are at ACC?
So that demographic, that
Most of them
subpop
choose- they
is
don't
not
choose-
gonna
they
do
just
well.
wanna stay
That
with it.
traditionally hasn't done well.
And so what the state is doing, because the other thing is, we teach, we all
I
have to
don't
teach
know,
the
I
same
guess
standard.
it's kind of hard at our level, like,
Yeah.
we're looking at kids and
Teach it in the one order,
it's,
while teaches it in a
okay,
different order. So what they
you've never
can
passed a star.
do, there's probably.
In the star.
And we start so much
Nobody said
earlier,
Yes.
so that if they don't,
That's
if they move in,
where,
I like the normal
because there's
school
no
start
real-
time, they've already missed
Remedial
six
type
weeks
thing?
of school. So they're
like a GP,
So this first thing from
the very first week of school. We identified every kid that went to star, looked at their stuff, and then we put them on a plan. And if they didn't do the plan, they got referred to 504
Like an
special.
extra extended vacation.
There was somebody looking to make sure that.
We don't have that.
Which is another role.
Is that not where they would go with Apex? Is that not have anything to do with it?
But you could, that was more credits.
This will bring
but
some
it's
good
not
news.
like-
Okay.
When you see it, like, when you're in the forest, sometimes you don't see. Yeah.
With
So,
math, and I'm not saying 46%.
So here's another piece of data,
Certainly better than.
and going back to what we talked about, Amber, at your table, it follows that. The cohort, now the group. That's what you're requesting, that's it.
This one doesn't have
State level, okay.
so what you're looking at, you're comparing.
You're right, it doesn't have eco-dis, it's just overall, yes.
Yes, and this is to kind of show you the trend. This is 23, 24.
19, which is
You got two
sad.
And
pages.
this was 24, 25. And this is tracking cohorts. How the cohorts are progressing from one grade.
But what I'm saying is, what I am seeing here is that the initial or the
6th to 7th grade.
biggest differentiation that we have seems to be with our reading, which, you know this, because you're a math teacher, that affects your math.
I don't teach a
Because
core
if
subject.
you can't read and grasp, you know, a word problem, what are you gonna do?
Well, and they will tell us that we can't do anything on the math side unless they've been referred for reading too. Like that has to be the first step.
Really? That's interesting.
So, like, we can't give them, like, through MTSS, like, the kids, we can do read alouds. But I can't do a read aloud for my class unless my partner in their reading,
So that would be.
they are 2 years behind. So it goes hand in hand to where I can't just have a sole math kid that's struggling when they're doing fine with reading. Which, I don't agree with that. I'm thinking some kids are not math kids, like, you can be.
You can have dyscalculia
Yeah.
and not have just,
But
you know,
I
dysgraphia.
can't on my MTSS, which then follows how my STAR accommodations go. So if they're not reading guidance, what I do in math.
Right.
Numbers, right? The age 7, you're talking about continuously?
I need it to be different.
No, but when I look at these, I can kind of see why, because the reading
And
is
that's-
so
I don't think these show that. That's on a different.
from what the state has. I mean, 52 and 50 is not bad, but 23 and 19,
It's not great. We'll look at 21 and 8.
yeah, please, let's just not talk
I
about
mean,
that.
that's,
That was 2024,
that
right?
was
Yeah,
2024.
because we don't,
21 and 8 reading.
submit anything attendance-wise like that.
That kind of also makes you wonder,
Like, teachers show late entry.
Well, I know the state when it.
when we 1% of your entire state masters.
Is there not a problem? Right, yeah, there's a problem,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, well,
And they're not, like you said, they're not sticking with anything. Like it's like, once you kind of feel like, you're like, all right, we're going to something else, and so.
Let's say, well, you can stick with the one you want, but we're not gonna give you money for it. But if you go this one.
And then, of course, it's like millions of dollars, not really, but it's like, it's so much money that you're like, forget it. Which I'm very concerned, not that I'm concerned, but I'm about to say, like, what are we gonna do? We're not gonna be able to pay for this. It's gonna eventually go.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna be, when we finally.
Switch to something else that's free.
Well, because like on both of these, there's big drops from sixth to seventh in the reading.
Luckily for us not. Okay.
You can say whatever it is. No, I have opinions, I'm not sharing this.
We were told to be respectful of everybody.
My opinion would be something that would go along with storm the gates and, throw out what isn't working and just declare yourself
Usually fourth and intermediate and seventh at
education district unto yourself, okay?
Fourth grade is like the seventh grade.
I have a feeling there was someone in my family that was in the Revolutionary War, okay? I'm just saying.
By fifth grade, we like them all.
and the in between.
There are thousands of mistakes. Like, they're having to redo because there's so many mistakes.
Are we using it? No.
Identify overall.
No, you can't, but you pay for it. Okay, that's true.
Because it's.
Okay, so good conversation. One of the things that came up was at this table, they said, hey, we noticed a trend from 6th to 7th. Kids are not performing. What's going on? I thought it was 5th to 6th, but 6th to 7th. And I said, well, 7th grade is a difficult year. And also the test is a lot harder. We know that. The test is hard in 7th grade for math and reading. So 7th grade, and then at intermediate, it's usually 4th grade. So 4th and 7th grades are kind of. You do. So just, those are good observations, things like that, write that down. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be perfect, we're just brainstorming, that's all we're doing right
Start
now.
writing. Let's pick a weakness. Start writing.
I have really bad handwriting.
I do too, and he's worse than me.
Tell me what to write, all right. Give me my paper.
Smarter people write really bad according to the study that I saw.
Dang it.
Wait, could we make that statement again? And just remember,
They're
I
just
was your
getting a little
teacher.
bit long habit here.
Long enough legs to kick it.
Good kicking, I'm begging you to kick it. I'd love for you to kick it. I'd love for you to kick it.
Kick my right leg so I don't have to drive tomorrow.
Oh, are you the best? Are you the designated bus driver?
And Friday.
I don't want to hear it.
No, but I'm serious. As you're looking with the approaches, we're not bad. When we get down here, we're still better at meets. Well, I'm sorry, wrong spot. We're still better at meets than state for 2025. But then when you get down here for masters, 27 and 24, we dropped.
Technically, yes.
Well, by
So
5
like,
percentage
here's
points.
here's what you can tell the math. So look at the 6th grade.
Big gap.
5th grade reading, 5th grade.
Right here.
5th grade reading.
Who are economically disadvantaged.
6th grade.
5th grade rating is right.
6th grade reading. So they were at, the year of 24-25, they were at 82%. That 24-25 is now this one. They jumped 2%.
So they went up.
Right. So you're seeing a trend of that one cohort is smart
Because being a
the
tight.
entire time.
Oh, well, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's,
What level is that?
that's this year's current 8th grade.
That's my niece's son. That's
See, my daughter's, my daughter's group
Let's kind of go back to
Really?
What is she, 7?
We're gonna go weaknesses now.
barely caught up.
Besides academic, there's a whole host, like, they don't know how to sit in a chair, they don't know how to hold a pencil, they have, there's a whole host of issues because of having kindergarten at home. So there's.
Actually, I think no kindergarten.
True that, yes, for sure.
You cannot set someone down in front of, I don't even know what instructions are, but they used to be like Teletubbies, okay? And say, here, watch this and then you're out for that. Yeah.
Okay, good luck. Good luck.
Obviously,
Ready? So that would be. And then there's me over here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the thing. I'm like,
Okay, great conversations, we know everybody is,
I love it, I love the
Yes.
conversation and the engagement.
So, this is what we're going to do, we'll continue at the next meeting, but I hear a lot of good conversations. So yes, last time we looked at our overall district improvement plan, and there were issues with it. So now, we're looking at our needs, cause this year is like we're gonna start all over, kind of like a reset, right? We know that our district improvement plan needed some work, and so now we're looking at the needs this year, based on last school year, and moving forward, we're gonna focus in on that. So, at this time, we're gonna go ahead and, what did you wanna do?
Yes, you wanna, for each cohort.
We can collect whatever you have, and we can finish it the next time around.
Yes.
And then
At least
we
we have
just
a
wanted
starting
to
point.
start having the conversations, the difficult conversations.
Because there's other areas that we need to look at. This is just a
It's
little
just one
piece.
piece.
We're chunking. And
Yes.
the
We still have
next piece-
attendance, we still have
Discipline.
discipline.
that
We've
we
got a
wanna
lot of
look at.
components.
Oh, don't get me started with attendance.
I know, I know. But we need to have those conversations, you know?
We gotta come up with solutions.
Every year I have kids that are absent like 30 or 40 days.
I don't get that.
And then,
So-
you know, it's still there.
But then you have, is it, and then they're referred because, is it because of,
Okay,
Or
so,
that's the state, sorry.
Because they didn't get it, they get referred on to the next grade level, because when you go to the MTSS meeting and you try to get them tested for something, like say they are struggling academically,
but then you think
they
about
are,
the attendance.
you're
It's hard.
you're told that there's not enough opportunities.
And that's, and that's over.
Percentage, they can't, they can't test.
Yeah,
And it's always
I
like that.
get it, but it's just like also
Fifth grade.
not fair to the student, because now they're gonna
You
struggle.
know what? We need to start taking up reports.
Okay.
You're talking about.
So this is what we're gonna do, just to kind of, bring it back. We're gonna go through each table, one strength, one weakness, and we're gonna start over here. One strength, one strength, and one weakness.
The eighth grade economically disadvantaged passed by 85% in reading of 2025. Sixth to seventh grade scores dropped.
Okay.
Okay? One strength, one weakness, just overall, what'd y'all find?
I think one of the strengths we found was that from the 24 to 25 year intermediate showed a lot of growth. And especially in that third grade group, and so that's very promising for them in later years. And then one of the weaknesses was the transition year from math from fifth to sixth. There was a big drop.
That's rough. Yep, this table, strength and weakness overall.
okay, but we talk a lot,
Just
so
summarize, yeah.
we have a weakness, I'm sorry, we have a lot of strengths, but we just haven't written them down. But the weakness seems to be reading K through 5 for each cohort.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, so
And we're working on that.
yes, and we're glad that you all are looking at the data, because a lot of times it's there, we're busy, we don't look at it. But it's important to start with this piece, with our state report. Then we also have the report that Dr. Shum had to put together. So we have these pieces of data, that's good, it's a starting point. Okay?
Okay. So, we'll collect it. So if you just want to leave your, the papers that you're writing on, we'll collect that, but you can keep the table report if anyone wants to keep that, or the charts, you can keep that as well. We'll just collect the focus area that we worked on today.
Once again, it's just.
Okay, you want to collect that?
And Dr. Shum will also, you're gonna email their updates?
Yes, yeah. I can, yeah, I'm gonna go over it, because I thought, well, we might run out of time, but these are updates that I think parents, I know I've been to the campuses to meet with, teachers for TIA. So these are some updates that are coming, up for next year. And I thought, I haven't shared them formally with like going to every campus, talking to the faculty, but you guys, you guys definitely need to be informed. So spread the word. Yes.
Spread the word.
This isn't confidential, right?
No, that's what I get back to the.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, no.
And this PowerPoint is in dedication of needing more rain. So it's all geared towards rain, like a rain dance. I said, I'm gonna put pictures of water. I'm manifesting that
like
we're
a
going
rain
to get some
dance.
water.
Oh, I take both, I think
And not a water break at your campus.
Not a water break. Okay, so without the water break, you can go to the second floor
Oh,
at the
dang
high
it.
school, man. So
Could y'all just do a drive-by tomorrow and whack that main real quick? You know, and I'll collect the.
Okay.
We added a street.
So we got, in February, the first week of February, we got, back, the data to let us know if our district, had qualified for TIA. Okay, so every year, every time you add a new category, it has to go through the whole process of getting validated. So between October and February, I don't sleep. I'm sick to my stomach because you're just waiting to get that information back from TEA to let you know whether, you know, your system was accepted or if it was denied. And I knew if it was not accepted, you know, I would not be here today talking to you. So we got good news. And so the teachers that were designated, we went that first week, we went to the different campuses and we gave them, we formally recognized them in their classrooms and we gave them a letter. And so that was like the best part of the TIA designation, was actually going into the classrooms and letting them know, hey, you are now a designated teacher for the next 5 years. This week, last week and this week, I've been going to the campuses, whether they were designated or not. I've been meeting with the teachers and the campus principal, and we've been going over their scorecard. And so the scorecard contains their T-test, which is their evaluation just on domains 2 and 3, and then their student growth measure. So it's like 2 checks. If you have a T-test score that meets the minimum requirement, check. Okay, you're 1 check away from being designated. And so the next check that I look at is your student growth. If you had a minimum of 55%, check. So guess what? You are now in the pool to be designated. So my job is to figure out how many points you earn to determine what level you fall into. And the 3 levels that we had were, they were recognized, exemplary, and masters, okay? This year, we just got information in January that the state of Texas has added another level. That level is now called the acknowledged level. So there are now going to be 4 levels: the acknowledged, the recognized, the exemplar, and the masters. And then also with that, there's more funding that's going to go to the different levels. Okay?
You mean we're gonna get more money?
Yes. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so the acknowledged level is now the amount that you're getting at the acknowledged level is what you're getting at the recognized. So now the recognized is ranges between 5,000 and 15, and that amount varies on whether you are a rural district. If you are a rural district, you get more money.
Yeah.
If your campus is economically disadvantaged, that percentage is really high, you get more money. And so not all the campuses get the same amount of money. The primary typically will get more money than, say, the high school, because the primary will have a higher percentage in their economically disadvantaged population as compared to the high school, okay? Or the ACC. They are 100% at risk. So they're going to get more money than the primary would. So basically, recognized is now between 5 and 15,000. Exemplary is between 9 and 25, and masters is now between 12 and 36. That's gone up. Last year it was capped out at 32. So it's going up. Okay. So right now, our goal is, like, when we're meeting with teachers, we're communicating this to them as we're going through their scorecard, because some of them, I'm telling them, like, hey, your scorecard right now, if I was submitting this scorecard for next year, you would have been designated. You would be designated at the new level, which is the acknowledged level. So, and I think they did that in part because, you know what, as administrators, we're always telling our teachers, hey, if you get a 3, that's solid teaching. That's proficient. And so, you know, we do have, I mean, what's the whole point of TIA? It's to recruit and to retain. And say you are a new teacher, you know what I mean? You might get frustrated because you're like, you know what, you're telling me that a 3 is solid teaching, but I have to get a 3.7, and it's kind of like, they say that they leave the profession in 5 years. So I think there's some compromise in that discussion as to why they added another level. So 3.5 is now the minimum T-test score, and now it's 50% student growth that we're looking at. So no, because the new level, the acknowledged level, the minimum T-test score for that is 3.5, and the student growth for that is 50%. And then you have the recognized level, which is 55%, right? And then your T-test score has to be a 3.7. And then it goes on from there. So we're also looking at, every year, we expand and modify our application. And what do I mean by that? We add categories, new teaching categories. The first year, we just started off with reading and math star. Last year, we added the science and social studies star. This year, we're collecting data this year's gonna be a big year, because we're collecting data for all the other content areas that are not star tested and CTE. So I think last year when we expanded the application, we added like 41 teaching categories, which is huge. So this year is going to be a big year because we're collecting data for all those categories. I'm working on the application for next year. Right now, we do have special ed, but the only special education educators that we have that are eligible are our SPED teachers, like inclusion teachers, and our resource teachers. We're going to add this year to the application our adaptive ed, our functional academics teachers, and our structured learning classroom teachers. So we're gonna add just those 3. We're not yet ready to add music, PE, and I think theater. Yeah. We thought about music, but right now, the only vendor that is out there, it's only for secondary. So we don't have one yet. We don't want to offer high school, just if we can offer the lower grades, because they work just as hard. And then for PE, we're still trying to find that compromise of what would we use. And so, and we don't have the time to create these assessments, you know what I mean? So that is also some money that comes into play. We're also going to, this year, restructure our compensation plan. We have, last year, the payout was 75% to the teacher. 15% went to the instructional support on the campus, and then the 10% went back to the district. But that 10% that we received from the district, we used that money to pay for all the teacher deductions. Okay, so the teacher got the full 75%. This year, we've made some changes, and I'll tell you why we made those changes. Because as a district, if we want to sustain the TIA system, we got to have money to put back into those assessments. Because as we expand, we have, there's more money that goes into the assessment. We're using MAP, we're using the Brigance, we're paying Region 10 to create all of our assessments for those non-tested subject areas in high school. Chemistry, you name it, they are creating those assessments for us. So we administered the BOY at the beginning of the year for all those content areas, but now we're gonna have to pay again at the end of the year so that we can get the EOY. So, because, we're like a 2-man band show here. We don't have time. And not only that, but that's not my content. I am not an expert in physics or in chemistry to create that sort of assessment.
And what's the cost, just tell them, what's the cost of MAPS? What's your bill
$88,000
for MAPS?
for MAPS.
And then Region 10?
And then Region 10 was another 20-something thousand. So this year, we've changed that compensation plan. 90% will now go to the teacher.
Praise the Lord.
90%. But out of that 90%, teachers will now be responsible for their TRS, the Medicaid, all the deductions. And we're not going to give any money, unfortunately, to the other instructional support. Because we feel like right now, we pretty much have 85% of our teachers that are eligible for TIA. It would be, like I said, the fine arts, the PE, maybe theater. So we're not quite there, but we're pretty close to being a fully approved system. So that will go out this year. So the teachers that we awarded this year, in July, we will go to their classrooms and they will get a check, with the 90% minus the deductions. So it should be more than what they've gotten in the past.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have they decided what they're going to do with dual credit? Because we don't get anything.
I know. That's a conversation. And so what I do is I go to all these meetings, and so we kind of like powwow, and that has not yet been brought to the table. But because you guys are,
So 4 years in, but we're still not eligible. That's a little hard to take, just letting you know.
Yeah. Because it's TEAC's a line, it has to be, and so there's that issue with dual credit because they're getting college credit, so. But I will definitely bring that up because that's a very good point. So at my next meeting, I will bring that up. So this year, we're changing that to 90-10. So, and the reason we're doing that too is because we need that 10% back into the district. Last year we paid all the deductions, but we really need that 10% to go back so that we can sustain, because, right now it's like, there's not a lot of money. And so the way that we're able to provide PD is through all the grants that we've been receiving over the years. But there's not a lot of money like local funds. And so EMAT, we do have our EMAT that I can pay out of that, but that EMAT is only for 2 years. So I gotta be mindful of how we spend that money because it's really not a lot. I mean, it's $600,000, but you're thinking about, that's for the whole district.
Every
to
time we
purchase
consumables.
consumables, technology, everything. So I gotta be mindful and then say, okay, I wanna just maybe spend half. And then, we're always trying to find money of how we can pay for things. So I'm really excited about the new designation level because I think this year we're gonna have a lot more teachers that will be designated. We do plan to have a ceremony in May to celebrate our teachers with the award like we did last year. So that's very exciting. And, oh my gosh, okay. And then basically, I'm just gonna wrap this up. With EMAT updates, right now is the busiest time of the year because this is when, just to kind of keep you guys informed, this is when we start ordering curriculum for next year. And so we are going to continue with the Blue Bonnet. I know. And you know what? There are it needs a lot of work. I know there's like over
4,000 errors.
I know. But I will say as a district too, we've been flex, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to, it's like, we recognize that it's not perfect, but I will say that I think, this is just me personally, because I've looked at the data, I think just having an alignment. Some consistency. I have definitely seen a big difference. You may not see because like I said, you're in your little room, but when you go out, you step out and we do like walkthroughs, I can see it. I mean, when I go to the middle school, I'm just like, wow. I can see it. So it's like, trust the process. You guys are doing a great job. I think you're hard on yourselves, but, and then we started with the primary this year. They're now, I will be saying, it was like, one room was doing something else, another room was doing something. It was just like, I don't even know how to describe it, but now there's consistency and that alignment. And so I'm hoping that what you guys are seeing as you get to the intermediate, I'm hoping that will not be the case moving forward. I'm hoping next year that you can say, just like I think y'all did say with the math kids, hey, they're coming a little bit stronger. And so I'm hoping that you guys will be able to say that next year at the beginning of the school year, that these kids are coming stronger. But you're right, it's the phonics component. And so our teachers at the primary have expressed that. But I want to be honest with you, I was a first grade teacher. That's a skill. It's like you have to be trained on how to teach phonics.
Yeah, you can't
You know
just
what I mean?
pick it
Because
up.
you can teach them the wrong way but you have to, and so we talked about that. We want to make sure that we provide more training in phonics on how to teach it, because it's a skill. I mean, you have to
You
know.
wanna know how I really learned it? Saxon phonics.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
Saxon phonics, I mean, that, we would do when I first came to the primary, we would read the lesson verbatim,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, oh, this makes sense
Yeah.
now. I learned it with the kids sometimes, and so I really like Saxon.
Yeah, and so that consistency again, but it's like, that's a skill. It's not like, okay, you can go, no, I would be like, to go back into the classroom, I would be terrified to go and teach. Put me responsible for first grade, because that's the most important grade level. If they do not get it in first grade, poor babies, it's a struggle, because the gap just gets wider and wider. So basically, just to kind of keep you guys updated, we still have money in our EMAT funds, so we will be putting some orders. And everything that we get comes through EMAT, everything. It's a disbursement, we don't even get to pay up front. I always have to go through the process. I have to request the money from TEA. TEA sends me the money, and then from there, they send the money to the PO. So teachers, sometimes you're like, well, how come I haven't gotten my stuff? It's a process. Like, I can put in the request, but TA has to go into the system and approve. They have to approve everything that is bought. So
We're not gonna have to wait till a little bit after September to get stuff sometimes?
that's why I'm ordering. I know we're using Blue on it. And last year, it was the first year that they were rolling it out. So as they're telling us about this program,
Yeah.
they're probably still creating. That's why you had 4,000 mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But just to kind of keep you guys in the loop. Do y'all have any questions? I know that was kind of fast.
I know.
Because I know usually when we start the school year, they're like, we're waiting for the funds to come in, right?
And I'm gonna tell you, and that's because this year, we didn't get our funds replenished until September.
Yeah.
We had nothing. We had depleted all of our EMAT accounts. So the only way to purchase anything was to wait till we got our funds. So, and I know, and we're year round. So that doesn't help us either, because most school districts, they're going back in July, they still have August. We start in July. And so when the state doesn't say, hey, you're not gonna get your money till September, unfortunately, it is a delay. So, but there's nothing we can do, But I think we'll be okay this year. We're not gonna order consumable books. Do y'all use the consumable books?
Activity books.
Yeah, we do.
You do? Okay. Well, you guys, so we're going from campus to campus, because we can save a lot of money. If you're not using those consumable books, that can be a saving.
That's kind of a takeaway. Go ahead and have conversations with your campuses.
Yes.
If you're not using them.
I mean, there's
don't buy
some
them.
that we could, I mean, you
Also
should come have a
tell
conversation
the
with us,
teachers ahead
because
of time
there are
before
some
the year
that
ends,
I mean.
The
Yeah.
readers, not.
And if
people
not,
who
if you
read
haven't used them, well, but here's the deal.
Amplify
If there's that many errors, I'm afraid
I wouldn't send.
you know what I mean? We might just use digital until we
Right,
can.
to follow along and stuff.
Which, I mean, if we were okay with the paper, that would be
Because, we're gonna get
fine.
one next year,
But we do need to
We
go
use
back.
like the Learn book religiously, but there's a homework book and there's a fluency book
We're not.
that are rarely.
Yeah, you might wanna save them.
savings.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, come have a conversation so we can, and let me know when you're coming so I can get like a committee or at least have
You as a
feedback from you. So I mean, for my grade level, that I can say, we don't need this because we'll print it when we do.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing. That's what I usually do, is I get together with your campus and I say, okay, what do you need for science? What do you need for reading? What do you need for math? And so forth.
And that's a good point. She said, go ahead and have a conversation with the principals or remind them not to give them away at the end of the year. They can use them again.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes teachers are like, oh, we get new ones every year.
Go ahead and
So
take
the
'em.
readers go home, like the readers where the stories are,
Yeah.
go home with the kids, and then we're expecting new ones, and
I
it's like,
know.
we're not gonna get new ones.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good point.
So,
You're not
okay,
selling.
and we can save money there.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming. I know it was fast and furious, but we definitely appreciate you guys coming to this meeting.